Hey guys, welcome back to another video of my channel. This is the last episode of this series. If you are from the very start of this series, then congratulations, we have completed another series that is the BTS. Obviously, this series has been stopped by the author, so go to hell with it. If you really liked it, I could continue the series, but tell me in the comment section. I will post a community post on that. We should continue it or not, or you can give me um, comment section some opinion about which story should we start next on which anime too. So if you are new to the channel, subscribe, turn on the bell icon, and let's begin the last episode of this series.
Last time. I wish I could evolve. Then maybe she won't be so scared of me anymore, and then maybe, just maybe, I can live out my dream. I want to evolve into a butterfree one day so that I can fly to the moon. She states, before gently curling up as the moon soon past the visibility of the window. Raisin looks down at her before heading towards Ash's sleeping bag and falling asleep on top of it, Ash following suit after 2 hours of meditating. Now, Loki's POV. After being separated from Ash and the rest, I decided to stick with the Pokwitch, mainly because they know where the exit of this place is. Plus, knowing Ash will try to head to the exit to see if I made it there helps out a bit, as I don't want to go searching the vast Viridian forest, possibly running into Team Rocket or that orange-haired girl. Right now, I and the Pokwitch are currently resting at a makeshift campsite that we built. Spent the time digging up a fire pit and collecting berries. We would have gotten to the exit of this place sooner, but we had spent the last 6 hours trying to find the correct path out of this place, and also running into Team Rocket 3 separate times. Gotta give them credit, they are very tenacious, persistent, though they are highly annoying, especially since they kept performing that stupid song whenever we ran into them. After running into them for the third, and hopefully final time, it was just getting dark, so we were forced to stop for the night, as even though I can see very well in the night, the Pokwitch wouldn't be able to move as quickly as I would have liked. Regardless of that, once I finished digging the fire pit, they quickly placed in a bunch of twigs and leaves, before performing a small chant, and the twigs went up in flames, which they then placed a bunch of bigger sticks on top to keep the fire alight. Not long after that, they performed another chant, before tossing some kind of dust into the fire, which caused the fire's color to change. They did this a few more times, and then suddenly I had to cover my nose with my paws. Something reeked. There, that should do it, the Pokwitch said, but I didn't care as the smell seemed to become stronger and stronger. I was about to bury my nose into the dirt to try and block out the horrendous smell when suddenly I felt something get placed onto my head, and then the smell went away. I'm sorry about that, lil guy. I let out a low growl. Girl then, anyway, I'm sorry about that. I just performed a small ritual to make sure that those annoyances and any Pokemon from getting close to us. The ritual protects the caster and their Pokemon, not other trainers' Pokemon. I just placed a small talisman onto your head. It'll prevent you from being affected by the ritual for the night. They stated. I then gently raised my head and looked up at them, and nodded to them in thanks. That talisman will drain you of some energy. Nothing too serious, but it will make you fairly fatigued until tomorrow, so you won't be able to go searching for your trainer and friends till tomorrow, they add, before heading back to the fire pit and starts taking out some food from somewhere. While they were distracted, I checked myself once over and noticed that I was still in the form of a Pikachu. That's a relief. Glad to see that I am still in this form, especially after everything. I think to myself, before joining the Pokwitch for food, and not long afterward I decided to call it a night, feeling somewhat sluggish after running the entire day. End Loki POV. Third person POV. 7 hours later. Inside Samura's cabin, while he had a somewhat restful night's sleep, Ash wasn't all too happy to wake up in the cabin with the orange-haired Banshee and Samurai. His reasoning: one of his friends was out in the Viridian Forest where Team Rocket was still on the prowl, hunting him for his friends. Shaking his head with a disgruntled sigh, he sat up from the sleeping bag, looking over to see that Reza had curled up on his waist, and Caterpie had remained on the cushion he had placed him on the previous night. He proceeded to gently wake Reza up. No, don't run, Ketchum. These, Reza said, still deep in sleep, causing Ash to let out a small chuckle, but continued to try and awaken his friend. Reza, come on, it's time to get up. We have to try and get Loki back, he said to his friend, whose ears twitched slightly, before the small mouse Pokemon's eyes fluttered open.
Early why, they responded, rubbing their eyes.
I know, but I would rather not wait for that Banshee to wake up and screech at us till our ears bleed. Ash responded slowly, getting up, placing Reza onto the wood floor, and then quietly putting on his clothes. Once he was fully dressed and packed his belongings back into his bag, he gently picked up the injured Caterpie, and let Reza climb up to his shoulders. The three of them quietly left through the front door of the cabin, not awakening the other people inside of the cabin. Once outside, the three of them made it a good few minutes away from the cabin before Ash decided to finish healing up the Caterpie. After unwrapping and discarding the bandages, an empty pocket in his bag, he looked over the wounds to see how they looked, and they seemed to be mostly healed. Just to be safe, Ash sprayed a super potion onto the wounds, making sure that they were fully closed and healed. There we go, that should do it. How do you feel now, Caterpie? Ash asks the small bug Pokémon, watching as it starts moving their body left and right, doing a few turns, and letting out a happy chirp. A lot better, thank you, nice human. They state, crawling forward and nuzzling on Ash's pant legs, which causes him to smile and gently leans down and rub Caterpie's head. That's great to hear. I'm sorry about what that Banshee did to you, he states. Caterpie then shakes their head. It's all right, it wasn't your fault. I don't understand why she was so scared though, I just wanted to be friends. Caterpie whined sadly, looking down, before shaking its head and looking up at Ash. Can I ask you something, nice human? They asked, looking into Ash's eyes, and seeing them nod in response. Can I come with you please? You're one of the first humans I met that can talk with us, and you seem very nice. I would like to go with you, please, Caterpie begged, somehow pulling out some kind of teary Growlithe eyes as they pleaded. Ash looked over to Reza as if asking his opinion, to which the mouse Pokémon gave a short shrug. It's your decision, buddy. None of us wouldn't mind if you caught other Pokémon to join in the travels, though do remember that none of us are very keen to be separated from the team, so you would need to ask the other Pokémon you catch if they don't mind going to Professor Oak's ranch, Reza states, causing Ash to nod, before pulling out a simple Pokeball and placing it a few inches in front of the bug Pokémon.
If you would like to join, you are welcome to Lil Guy, but just know my Pokémon will be trained to the best and pushed to become better. If you are willing and able to be trained like that, then I don't see why you couldn't join my team, Ash states, causing Caterpie to chirp happily, before gently headbutting the center of the Pokeball and letting themselves get absorbed. The Pokeball didn't even rock once before letting out a low dang, letting them know that the capture had been successful. Ash then picked up the Pokeball and released Caterpie, who let out a loud pee. It's nice and cozy in there, they state, before slowly crawling up Ash's legs and back to his other free shoulder. Welcome to the team, Lil Guy. Now it's time to make our way to the exit of this place. My other friend, Loki, should hopefully be meeting us there, Ash states, before starting the long trek to the exit of Viridian Forest. Back at the cabin 30 to 45 minutes after Ash had left the cabin and captured Caterpie, did the other occupants of the cabin start to awaken? Well, more specifically, one orange-haired banshee who nearly caused one samurai to wake up to a heart attack. That no good brrrrrraatttttttt. She screeches out, pissed that Ash had not only gotten away from her again, but he still hasn't paid her back for her bike. The samurai was wondering if it would be against the Bushido code to kick out the loud girl to save his eardrums and, quite possibly, his sanity.
Back with Ash. They continued on their way to the exit of the forest, Caterpie acting as their GPS to the exit, as they knew the ways in and out of the forest. While sitting on Ash's left shoulder, Caterpie shuddered, feeling like something was watching them.
Guys, do you feel like we are being watched? They ask Ash and Reza, to which both shocked their heads. But Ash decided to stop for a bit and let his aura flare out slightly just in case. Not even a second later did he suddenly jump to the right, just in time for something to fly by his head.
Reza quickly jumped off of Ash's right shoulder and got into battle position. A loud screech sounded through the air as suddenly the thing that dived past Ash's head came back down and tried again, only to get shocked by a quick thundershock by Reza. Ash quickly looked at the attacker and saw that it was a Pidgeotto. Said Pokémon quickly shook itself, went back into the air, and began to circle around them, doing its best to keep itself out of reach from Reza.
You both okay? Ash asked, slipping back into human speech. I am alright. Feeling hungry for fried chicken, Reza stated, baring his fangs up at the Pidgeotto, letting sparks flare from his cheeks. I am alright as well, Ash. Caterpie stuttered out, trying to find himself a hiding spot on Ash's body.
I think that they are after me, he added, thinking back and realizing that the bird Pokémon was diving towards his trainer's left shoulder to try and catch him, making him their meal. Ash looked toward his Pokémon and nodded, before shouting towards Reza. Reza, use agility on the trees to try and reach Pidgeotto. Get as close as you can and launch a thunderbolt at it. Reza nods sharply, quickly performing the move and climbing one of the nearby trees at breakneck speed before launching himself in the air and blasting a large bolt of electricity towards the Pidgeotto, just missing it as the bird Pokémon dived out of the way, getting too close to the ground, but in reach for Ash's plan.
Now Caterpie, use string shot and wrap them up. Ash shouts, launching Caterpie from his arm into the air slightly, letting the small bug Pokémon quickly shoot out its webbing, catching the bird Pokémon off guard.
Soon the bird crashed to the ground as its wings were completely tied up in the string, and its entire body was now trapped inside of a cocoon. Not wasting any time, Ash quickly tossed another Pokeball at the cocoon Pidgeotto, who proceeded to struggle inside the capture device for a solid minute before the Pokeball stilled and dinged, announcing the successful capture. Well, looks like we got a new teammate, guys, Ash stated, picking up the Pokemon and placing it onto his belt, before kneeling and letting both his Pokemon climb up onto his shoulder. Before Caterpie reached Ash's arms, it instantly stilled before looking up at the sky and launching streams of silk, which quickly wrapped all around his body and formed a cocoon of its own around himself. Once the shell had finished forming, Ash gave the small cocoon Pokemon a small one and picked him up. Congratulations, Caterpie, you've evolved into a Metapod, Ash whispered to the cocoon Pokemon, which got a drawled cheer out of them. Reza, quickly reclaiming his spot on Ash's shoulder, cheered for their new teammate's evolution.
Congratulations, Caterpie, you're going to reach your dreams sooner than you expect, he states, throwing his fist into the air. Soon the three of them began trekking onwards towards the exit.
Loki and the Pokwitch. Loki and the Poke Witch started their morning an hour or two after Ash and Reza and continued their journey towards the exit. Luckily for them, they were both having a great time and were halfway towards the exit of the forest when Loki heard Reza's voice. Looking behind them swiftly, he saw a flash of a thunderbolt being blasted from the sky, alerting the Poke Witch.
What's up, lil guy? They asked Loki, who then pointed towards in the direction behind them, trying to let them know that their trainer was behind them. The Poke Witch looked at the Pokémon with a blank look, before a small look of realization flashed across their face.
Is your trainer down that way? They asked, causing Loki to nod in response. Before Loki could dash towards the direction of Reza's most recent battle, and possibly reunite with their friends, the Poke Witch quickly spoke up. Wait, if they are back there, that means we are ahead of them. If we go to where they are just now, they could be long gone by the time we arrive. We should continue making our way to the exit and meeting them there. They state that Loki, though, didn't like it. They knew it was the right thing to do, but they still didn't like it. Begrudgingly, Loki continued following the Poke Witch to the exit, promising to claw into the Rocket's faces the next time they ever saw them again.
So yeah, this is it for today, and the series ends here. And if you really want the next episodes of this series, then tell me in the comment section. If I'm interested and if I get enough support, I would really consider to continue this series on my own. Until then, thanks for watching. See you later.